there, folks. So in this video, I want to show you the next activity, which we're calling color and value. So we're using color and we're using value, obviously. But in this activity, we're also going to use a little bit of our optical art, a little bit from what we were learning with optical art. We're going to be able to do some of that in this project as well, using value. So I'm going to show you what you're going to do on a much smaller piece of paper. It fits better in the window. But the first thing you're going to do is take a ruler, and I'm going to end up using this white charcoal pencil so you can see it a little bit easier, what the lines are that I'm making. Normally you would do this with a pencil, or you could do it with a colored pencil. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create 4 spaces right on my paper. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to measure. This is a 6-inch square, so I'm going to put a little tick mark there. Measure it up top, a little 3-inch mark, and then I'm going to connect these right here. And then I'm going to go to the other side. Tick mark at the 3 inches. Right down here, tick mark at the 3 inches. And I've created, by doing this, 8 spaces. Okay? The next thing I'm going to do is create what students have been calling the spider web. And by that, I just mean taking your line work and you're going to create a bump. And again, my paper is much smaller than yours, so you're going to have more of these than I will end up having. And you're going to continue that little bump. And you don't want a straight line. You really do want to make it an arched line in each section. And each line should start where the previous one ends. So I'm going all the way around, and then I'm going to do another series that goes all the way around. Same idea. And I'm going to keep doing that until I filled up my paper with all of these arched stripes. And you do that throughout. So I do another one and probably another one down here, maybe part of another one. And again, I would just keep going around. Probably another one right there. It's kind of satisfying to draw on black paper with a white colored pencil or a white crayon. It's different from what we're used to. There we go. All right, so I've got them all done up now. Now the next part is we're going to be using oil pastels, okay? And we're going to be using our oil pastels in a very specific way. If we were to look at a color wheel, let me grab one. Color wheels are the light spectrum just bent into a circle. And when we look at this, we can see that the color on the color wheel is always going to stay the same. If it's in any way different, then you probably don't have a really good quality color wheel because it won't ever change. And you notice here that your yellow, red, and blue are all equally spaced, and your secondary colors, the orange, the green, and the violet, are all perfectly spaced. But when you look across the color wheel, yellow and violet, red and green, blue and orange, these are called complementary color pairs, and they're always going to consist of one primary and one secondary. So if I'm looking at my oil pastels here, I'm just going to put them into the color complements. And when you colorize this, we are going to be using pattern, but we're also going to be using these specific color complements. So if I start coloring this, and you'll notice they're kind of blunt, they're not super sharp, so just go in and do your best. And you might kind of overlay a little bit on another space, but again, like I said, do your best. And they're really kind of nice to use because they're very smooth on the paper. Now, students have noticed that when they start to color this, the yellow and the orange appears a little bit different. And that's true because you're working on black paper. So I'm going to go down here and I'm skipping spaces. because my pattern for this section is specifically going to be yellow and violet, or yellow and purple, as we like to call it. Really fill those in, make it nice and neat. When you're ready, you can go in with your second color. In this case, violet. Lay that color in. Now, as you're coloring in these spaces, they're going to be nice and flat. And what I mean by that is you don't have any value yet. You have just the pure color in the space, making it really flat. Kind of almost reminds me of like striped, what do I want to say, striped tights or something for Halloween. I'm going to colorize one more here. Real quick, I'm going to do my next color combo here, which is going to be red and green. You may recognize those from holiday. Typically, we see red and green together during the holiday season. And when it comes to complementary colors, no matter whether you're using your red and green, maybe you're using your orange and blue, maybe you're using yellow and violet, complementary colors really set each other off. And what that means is whichever pair you're looking at, the yellow is going to make the purple stand out. The purple is going to make the yellow stand out. Same with red and green. Each helps the other really stand out, which is awfully cool. And again, you know, as you're going, you might accidentally get a little bit in a space that you don't want to, but usually you can clean that up pretty well. Okay. And if I were to color in a third series here, I would probably do my orange here and then my blue here. And again, it would be the opposite colors. Then I would go in and I'd start again with my yellow and violet, and then I do my red and green, and then I do my orange and blue, and so on. So you're going to end up having a few of these that are going to have 3 sections that are the same, and then you might have one that has 2, and that's normal because we're using 3 sets of color pairs here, and we only have 8 spaces. Okay, so that's the first part. You're going to totally colorize this. Now you can see that the space here is pretty flat. So the next thing I want to show you is how to create a feeling that these are actually popping out. And here's what you do. You're going to use a white charcoal pencil and a black charcoal pencil to do that. Now, as you do this, you're going to take your black charcoal pencil and you're going to kind of gently make some marks along your edges. And what that's doing now is it's creating a darker value around those bent edges. And doing that helps create this feeling that these sunken areas are actually a little bit darker. And do the same thing right here. And when you keep your lines relatively close together, makes the value appear a little bit darker. So you can already see it looks like it's starting to bend a little bit here. And I can even go in and accentuate that a little bit. Ooh, getting a little bit of red on my yellow there by bringing these lines up a little bit more. And I can go in here and do the same thing on this side. And you're really trying to give it a feeling that it is rounding. You can really see that now. But now I'm going to pull it out even more. And I'm going to do that using my white pencil. Now, what we've all discovered is using the white charcoal pencil on the yellow and the orange doesn't really work so well. So what you want to do is actually, I would skip that and go right to your purple or your other colors other than yellow and orange. And when you do that, you start to add what looks like a bit of a shine on top. All of a sudden, it really starts to feel like it is blending a little bit and that it's bending upwards towards you, the viewer. And you can always go back in and add some more. And I'm adding my lines contouring. Instead of going this way, I'm contouring the stripe which I think is helpful into helping create that illusion. So right now we've created these two color patterns using complementary colors, and by using value, some lights and darks of these colors, we're making it look like it's popping out and rounding, even though it's not. It's actually staying flat. So this is your next activity. First, create your asterisk lines, then add the spider web, then add your complementary colors, okay, complementary colors, and then go in with these two pencils and add a little bit of some darker values and some lighter values. All right, if you have any questions, let me know.